I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. There we go. What's up, world? Welcome to this special edition, members only. I mix what I like right here, Black Power Media. Again, I'm Jared Ball, your host. A little bit of a different setup, trying something new. So definitely get in the chat and let me know if this is working, because it's hard for me to tell over here. But I want to make sure before we get started, give folks a chance to jump in. Peace, Ricky, Eric, Elgin, Leah, others as you jump in. I can't pull up the chat here like I thought I would be able to because I'm using something else. But I see you over here, so I have to work it that way a little bit. Anyway. All right, peace. Thanks, Eric. Joe, what's up? All right. So it looks like everything is working properly. Let me see if let's see. So the input. No, the input should be here. Okay, the output should also be here. How about that? I guess that's the same. All right. Anyway, looks and sounds good, Iapo. Thank you very much. All right, cool. So anyway, please, whatever your drink of choice is, you're gonna need it, because what I've seen of this already is brutal. And let's see. I got another little setup, a little special thing. I'm gonna try to let's see. But if I turn that off, all right, we should still be good. Yeah, we should still be good. But definitely let me know. I can't pull up the chat. That's whack. This. Why didn't this? Anyway, I have to look more into this setup here. Because I like being able to pull up the chats. But anyway, let me know if anything goes wrong at some point. I'll keep my eye on the chat over here just in case. And but anyway, so yeah, get your drinks of choice. I got mine, and it's not Uncle Nearest, so I'm not gonna shout him out. Yeah, Leah, you said you're eating. Yeah, be careful. Yeah, be careful. Be careful. All warnings, because it's just nonsense. It's just bad. So you know. But all right. So let me pull this up over here, because I think we can go ahead and get started. Elgin, thank you. And thanks everybody for joining us. And of course, Happy New Year, all that stuff, to the extent you follow and pay attention to the Gregorian calendar, and if you got plans tonight, be safe, all that good stuff. I'm not going anywhere. I'm where I'm at for the night. So I'm good to go. But, definitely, be safe, enjoy yourself, Happy New Year, and a big shout out to all of you who are members. We are very much aware we want to do more special members only content to thank you. So I'm happy to try to do this, sort of test, set up, have fun with a not by myself sort of edition, and can't watch this alone type of thing. It's not safe type of thing. I'm very happy to do that. It's an honor actually to have the membership that we have, and obviously everybody wants more, but just want to make sure we're clear that those who we already do have, we are deeply appreciative of, and we recognize not everybody can support in this particular way. So however folks support, we appreciate it, but definitely shout out to the members. So Marley Gordon, thanks. Oh, nice. Yeah, I got mine ready too. Yeah, Lisa. Yeah, definitely make that a stiff one. Make that a double. So All right, so let me try this little transition thing and see how this works here real quick. Back in a second. Let's try to start having some fun here.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.
All right, there it is. There it is. All right, we got it up on the big screen in the movie theater seats. You know what I'm saying? Got it queued up. So we're past the intro. We're just going to start from the beginning, and we'll go as, we'll do what it do. We'll see if we get cut off. I don't know if they're going to copyright us. I don't know if that's going to work. We'll do what we do. And yeah, just FYI, if something happens, we get cut off, stay tuned to the messages, and we'll reboot or reschedule or do whatever. But anyway, so here we go. Woo! Let's check this out here.
Representative looking at education at the bottom of the We are naked. I don't care who you are.
Now you have no more Yeezy brand. Only thing you have left is your bank account real estate.
What it good be? Hope it should be. This is your boy NORE.
What up, is DJ EFN?
This is Military Crazy Raw Radio. Drink Chaps Yappy Hour. Come on. Make some noise! Now, approaching the Christmas time, it's so important, for people of our community to know about finances, to know about what to do, to know. And in this day and time, we usually, give these rappers these intros. But what I want to do right now, I want you guys to break it down. Say your name, what you do, and then break it down so the fans just know from off top.
Yeah. First of all, I appreciate it. So,
Yes.
Rashad, one half of Earn Your Leisure.
Yes, sir.
Earn Your Leisure, a media platform, started 4 years ago. We talk about financial literacy, business empowerment.
There it is.
We've created a podcast network. We do live events. We just did MSG. That was crazy.
Yep.
So, pretty much, I guess the best way to describe it is a
joint.
platform and a movement.
Right.
For people that are interested in learning, educating themselves, and really getting to really learning about money from the real root of it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm Troy, the other half of Earn Your Leisure.
Right.
Like you said, financial literacy platform. It's really about teaching sustainable wealth. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people talk about generational wealth, but they never tell you once you get the money, what you do with it.
Right.
And so we see that in a lot of industries. We see it in athletes and entertainment. They get the money and then they blow it.
Right.
And so our job is just to educate people, kick down doors, show different avenues, you know what I'm saying, so we can maintain the money for generations to come.
Okay.
I'm 19 Keys, the Court's top thought leader. You understand me? I got a show called High Level Conversations, the #1 intellectual show in the world. Also have a program called BWO where we teach people mental, physical, financial fitness.
Wow.
You understand me? Just re-engineering the mind, knowing yourself, knowing who you are. You understand me? And at the same time, knowing how to not only invest in knowledge yourself, but how to invest in your communities. You understand me? We got a program called Oasis, and it's more so when we have an investment group where we get to come together and think about how to reimagine Black America. So, as a young God, I'm just here to give some knowledge.
God damn, make noise for that,
Yeah.
So I just see y'all interview. I be one knows the controversy, right? Everyone knows the controversy that we had a thing over here. And Ye said he was a billionaire, right? We respected that. We rooted for that. But then we had this reports of Adidas saying he froze his accounts and stuff like that. But then I see you guys interviewed the, I don't want to say the real Black billionaire, so I don't want to seem like I'm taking a shot.
There's a couple of them.
But how is that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then I guess it's a two-part question because it's like, when Ye was saying he was a billionaire, did you guys
Now
are
check
being
the hate
financial
here.
back? Did you know that he wasn't or he was worth it?
Can I just say, it's so crazy that you asked that question because I was with them in LA. All three of us was in LA the day before Adidas dropped them. And I was saying that I have a strong suspicion because, people don't understand what net worth means. You see the Forbes, if they see, okay, you worth $2 billion, they think you actually have $2 billion of money.
Right.
Like
That's
what's that
harsh.
cartoon when dude was swimming in
Daffy Duck,
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah,
DuckTales.
They think you like
I would never think DuckTales would come up in here.
You got it coordinated.
That was the first show like
but really
this.
how it works is like all of your assets, right? So I had a strong feeling, I don't know Kanye, but just from observing him, that most of his assets was in that company, Yeezy. Like I didn't feel like he had a lot of money in stocks. We know he had $150 million in cash because kicked him out of
And
Chase.
that was liquid.
That's liquid.
That's liquid.
And then he got some real estate and stuff like that. So I was just saying, like, I think probably 90% of his money was in Yeezy.
Right.
It just so happened that I was right. Like so when they dropped him, now you have no more Yeezy brand. Only thing you have left is your bank account, some real estate. So that's how that $400 million comes into play. So if you look at it, he probably got a couple of homes. I think he got the ranch in Wyoming. He owns like 5% of Skims, and he got $150 million in cash. That would equal around $400 million. So you're like, okay, well, was he ever really a billion? Yeah, still a lot of money.
But that's not that's not how they promoted that. That's not how they talk that stuff.
In cash.
That's not how they talk that stuff. Okay, so all right, just to recap real quick, we got Thought Leader, we got the #1 intellectual show, we got financial literacy. It's already an atrocious mess, and then it's disingenuous for. I haven't done it, but I am positive that if we went back through the record of EYL's transcripts, we would find a bunch of praise for the fact that Kanye's making money. And when he was out there, he said he was hanging out in that crowd. Was he explaining Kanye's lack of actual wealth? Come on now. Come on, son.
That's in the company. Right. And then when he no longer has a company, now you lose everything. So it's like a car. Like if you have no money to your name at all, right? And then you got a Maybach, right? Let's say that Maybach is $300,000, right? Now you're worth $300,000 because you can sell that if somebody's going to buy it. But let's say that car burns up, you don't have insurance, now you're worth nothing. Right. So that's how you kind of look at it as far as like, so when a lot of these guys, most of their wealth is in their company. So that's what happened with Yeezy. And when they took that away, then he didn't have a company.
But he still was a billionaire.
Yeah,
he was a billionaire.
And then it's based on projected wealth as well. Most of wealth in America.
Which
is
is
an illusion. Most of wealth in the world is an illusion. It's based on evaluation.
Right.
You understand me? You see a nerd white boy throw out an idea, get an evaluation for $1 billion in a company versus somebody that's in a culture that is one of the most influential people in the world. If their idea is worth $1 billion, how is not his presence, influence, catalog, and intellectual property? Right. I think the idea of billionaires and things of that nature is that we never controlled the evaluations, right? Like how much is JayZ's catalog or Beyonce's catalog, or how much is Kanye's catalog worth?
Right.
Now I know he don't own full mastery of it, but he's getting it over time.
Right.
But that's sort of the question because we've never learned how to truly evaluate ourselves, right? I would say the things that he has in his intellectual property is worth $1 billion, right? Because when he went to Adidas with that, he was making them $1 to $2 billion per year.
Right.
So they lost more money than Kanye West did, but it's not framed that way because we don't control the media. So therefore, the narratives about our evaluations is not put out there correctly.
Right.
Right. Just think about it. How come nobody in the culture has surpassed $1 billion? How come there's no 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 billion dollars?
Like right now, they just announced Puff and they announced Jay.
But you know why? To piggyback off that, Troy go too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, it sounds the same elsewhere. I see you. I just actually did see JT, the Pocket Watchers, what he said. I think is the first of a series on this issue, on 19 Keys and the crew. What is the BMO crew that broke up? So I don't know if they're going to get into that on Drink Champs, but I mean that joint is hilarious. But to a certain extent, see, this is the other problem that I have. Like there are like crumbs of truth in the sense of when he's talking about not controlling the evaluation and the issue of projected value. All of that is true, but of course, he's saying this in the context of promoting himself as being able to deliver the keys to these locks that would allow Black people to enter into these spaces, and collectively, and that's where the mythology really kicks in. By the way, I just submitted the second edition today. I am feeling very good and unencumbered. So BWO, is that what it was? Sounds like Black World Order. Thank you. So, but again, if even in that title, it sounds more like the idea is replacing a white world order as currently exists with a Black one, with the automatic assumption that everything gets good for everybody. So anyway, that's obvious
Blow
nonsense.
when bro was in jail.
Yes.
And he was
Johnny,
selling.
Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
His character?
What's
Derek
his
for
name?
real.
Derek for real. No,
George Young.
Okay.
George Young.
That was Boston George, right?
Yeah, Boston George.
So, if you remember, he used to sell weed at first.
Right.
When he got locked up, the dude from Colombia was like, "You hustling the wrong product."
Put him on tequila.
So you hustling the wrong product.
Right.
So we hustling the wrong product too.
Right.
If you look at our billionaires, and no disrespect, but
Right.
it's through entertainment, spirits,
Right.
different things of that nature.
Right.
So this is why it's like I was talking to Timberland. They say JayZ's a billionaire, but to me he's worth $60 billion.
Right.
Like look at the level of excellence that he had to reach to get to $1 billion. When they got to do like Sam Bankman-Fried, y'all heard like he's worth $28 billion. Nobody even knew who he was because it's
Is that
technology.
who the guy you just interviewed? Who's
Nah,
Now hold on a second. Is everything still sounding right? Can somebody just let me know real quick? I just want to make sure things are still sounding the way they're supposed to. It's a little hard for me to tell everything from over here. But I think it is funny that, thank you, Ricky. I think that's funny that they accidentally confuse Sam Bankman-Fried with Robert Smith, given what we just covered yesterday about the equanimity of fraud between the two. But yeah, anyway.
That's Robert Smith. But what I'm saying is,
word.
Nah. We don't want to confuse them. Nah. Two separate
they got
things.
people that's worth $30 billion that you never heard of.
Right.
Technology.
Right.
Crypto. Different things.
Crypto.
This is what we need to get more into because it's like you can only go so far. It's a ceiling. Like he said, Oprah been worth $1.5 billion for 10 years. How is that even possible? Yeah. How is everybody worth $1 billion? Tyler Perry, Diddy, JayZ, Kanye West, every single person only worth
And all
$1
of them
billion.
probably got more but don't want to announce it.
But that's part of it too, right? So in order to have the valuation, you got to cooperate.
Right.
And so we interviewed Don Peoples, who's one of the wealthiest black men in real estate in the history of America. He stopped cooperating with them. So you don't really know how much he's worth. And if you go to other countries, they don't cooperate as either. And so when we look at guys like Elon Musk, and we're like, yo, he's actually number 2 now. Bernard just passed him. But
What do you mean by cooperate? Just
cooperate, you have to tell them what you're doing to see where your assets are, right? So if you don't know my assets, how can you evaluate them?
Right.
But a lot of times we forget that part. And so like when we talk about wealth and we look at like a guy like Elon, and what Shai's saying is correct, a lot of the money's tied into the company. And so when we see Tesla at $300, right? Yeah, he's the wealthiest man in the world, right? But when Tesla stock drops, you see his wealth drop as well. So now he's down at, I mean, it sounds crazy, but he's down like 180 billion. But that's not 330 billion that he was about 6 months ago.
No,
and so it's tied to it. But the other part is the valuation. And so most people forget that part. It was like how much your company is worth.
I just want to stop real quick and note that EYL dude, the other dude, did just say crypto is what we should be into, and this is only a couple of 2 weeks ago. This is only 2 weeks ago. So, you know, yeah. Even talking about Sam Bankman-Fried, they're still promoting this idea that black people should be in crypto, and that's why Oprah is only a 1 billionaire as opposed to 30 or 40. These dudes, like, this is horrible. This is really, really bad.
Him right here.
But also, in evaluation, sometimes
look
it's
at
just
that.
somebody with a lot of money telling you what something is worth.
Exactly, and so that
Almost
scale
300,000
is dictated by
views.
somebody else. And so if you have a tech company, they may say like, oh, you have certain components. How much money have you generated? Oh, you generated 20 million? That multiple can be 5x. And so you had a $20 million company, but they evaluated it at a 5x multiple. That company's now worth 100 million. And so that's how you get these evaluations, like 100 million, 500, $1 billion company, like we saw with FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan is a media company that started in gaming, right? They generated $50 million, but they had so many different assets under the umbrella that when the company wanted to purchase it, they said, yo, we're gonna give them a 20x multiple. So when you do the 50 million times the 20x multiple, that's how you get $1 billion valuation.
That's a fact.
And that's how you could actually get that billion in liquid. You have to make it hit that quota.
Well,
It's not gonna be liquid yet.
Well, you take it, so now you take the company public to the stock market.
There you go, that's the next part.
So it's levels, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now you realize we talk about stocks, right? And I know you tapped in.
Right, yeah.
4,000.
And crypto. He told me about crypto
Oh, yeah?
so long ago.
4,000 stocks
getting
on the
money.
stock market.
Right.
Out of 4,000 stocks on the stock market, how many think
Companies,
black?
companies, yeah.
Right.
4,000 companies. How many think is black owned?
Out of 4,000?
Out of 4,000.
Wait, I want to see the proof
500,
on that.
500 of them?
Hold on. I don't mean the pocket watch. Shout out to the pocket watcher and his truly black capitalist self. But DJ EFN been getting money? David Silberg, I'm saying, how much money do they have? Put it on the page. Come on, man. Because the data says everything else. And again, I just submitted. I didn't go much into it, but I did look, I was just reading another article about how much, black people lost all this money. Well, I guess EFN might not count in that. Is that what they're doing? He got his money? Okay. This is ridiculous.
What's your guess?
Damn, I don't know.
What's your guess?
I'd say at least 20% of those.
12.
20%?
12%. 20%.
12.
Boy, we be doing
Yeah,
good. 20%.
This is looking like a lot different.
Just think about that, right? Like 12.
Salute those fellas.
Shout out to the...
We celebrate, y'all. We celebrate, y'all. Keep breaking it down. Keep breaking it down. You got to sip or it don't count.
Only drink champagne out of plastic cups.
Yeah, that's
But
it's like 12%.
But it's like
Not
12%.
12 total.
Companies.
12 companies.
Total out of like 4,200.
So it's like, think about that, bro. That's crazy.
In real estate.
And in the stock market. On the stock market.
Oh.
So you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's real wealth.
Okay.
You take your company public. Right. Now you can get a $20 billion valuation. Now you can have $5 billion. He's full of shit. $100 million in stocks. Like, this is the game that's being played where it's like I said, going back to the Boston George analogy, a lot of times we just playing the wrong game. We're not thinking big enough.
Let me ask you. And obviously, we can't name this
Now,
company.
that's facts. We're not thinking big enough.
This company was coming to us trying to buy us out. And they were offering us a whole bunch of liquid, but then they was offering us so much in stocks. And we were just like, what if this company belly up? Like, we'll never make what we're actually worth. Was we supposed to do that? Was we supposed to say, yo, let's invest in stocks? The stocks more.
And remember what the CEO said? He said, take a chance with me. I'm going to take a chance on you. I'm like, I'm not taking it.
Yeah. I want to say the name so bad.
I think I know the name.
We'll get a little bit more.
I don't know you like that, bro.
We'll get a little bit more.
I think I know the name, and based on the timing of it, especially like since the market has pulled back, at the time it might not have been a great idea. But y'all got to look at y'all got to evaluate. Do y'all believe in the company, right? Especially that now that you're a part of it, what does that do to the value of the company? And not just this year, but let's say 10 years down the road, right? If you're talking about from a media standpoint, if everything's going streaming and this company is leading in that space, right? Where does that stock go, right? Because let's say you got the deal and they said, all right, well, we're gonna give you stock options at $45, right? But in 10 years, that $45 stock option turns into $90.
Right.
Now you just
then we win
100% on each share.
But it's possible.
But it's also possible that it doesn't
Depends
go.
on your
Yeah,
strategy.
it's possible that this app was just these people were just a fad.
You know the story. You know the story of vitamin water.
Oh, 50's part of vitamin water? Not really, but break it down.
Everybody knows 50 made a bunch of money on vitamin water, right? What nobody knows is that
he invested.
Not even that. Okay. Vitamin water, they from Queens.
Oh yeah, I did hear this.
The guys from Queens. Okay. So originally, like they starting the company, they don't really have enough money to really so to offer these celebrities like contracts, but they know that celebrities is a way to kind of grow the brand. Right. So, and I don't want to get the numbers wrong. I don't want to offend anybody, but they went to a few people at first. One of the people being Ron Artest. They offered Ron Artest the same deal they offered 50 Cent. Ron Artest wanted a couple $100,000 in cash. They didn't have a couple $100,000 in cash. They said, look, we can't pay you a couple $100,000 in cash, but we can give you equity. Ron Artest ain't understand it, he ain't believe in it, and passed on it. 50 Cent came, took the same deal, but took equity. Fast forward 18 months later,
Coca-Cola went and bought it.
$100 million.
Okay, so hold on. So first of all, the top 10% own more than 89% of all the stock. And the top 1% own anywhere from 80 to 90+% depending on which part of the stock market we're talking about. So again, when they start talking about these wild stories and they start talking fast and they're using language that most of the people in their audience don't understand, and to the extent that he's being honest, Nori admits he doesn't understand. And all of it is absent so many of the important facts. Then, of course, with this other silly story, it's supposed to be, well, Ron Artest messed up. 50 knew how to take advantage of this white offer, this white man's offer, that only was going to him and Ron Artest, and he took it and Ron didn't. If Ron had taken it, 50 couldn't have taken it. And that's always the point. It's not for the collective. If you take it, I can't take it. If I take it, you can't take it. And then it's supposed to be who's the smart one. These dudes, this is worse than I even. This is just so bad. Oh man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we haven't truly learned how to leverage and really get into the idea of equity enough in our culture, because we want to have 100% ownership instead of a percentage of something that can 10x 100%, right? And so the difference is, it's like if I build a company and I'm like, all right, by myself, I can get it to do, let's say, $1 million a year, right? But let's say if I give away 50% of it, I can get it to do $10 million a year. You understand me? So what would be a better
No, I don't
thing?
understand. I don't understand. Say that again.
I own 100% of a company that's making
you said
$1
get
million
away
a
that
year.
Oh, okay, I thought
but
you meant give away money.
50% of the
company.
equity in it to a partner.
Yeah.
Let's say Troy, Rashad, y'all a group. I say, y'all gonna help me market, y'all gonna help me with the branding,
So
y'all
you
help me
piece
with
us off.
distribution,
Okay,
production, the whole nine.
Right.
So instead of me just owning 100% of $1 million, I own 50% of $10 million. So we haven't learned how to build something and then leverage the equity of it. You understand me? By owning a percentage of it.
Right.
Because we haven't historically had nothing, we think we need all of it, right, to feel like owners, instead of learning the actual science of business. Right. Most people, they build a company and their whole
Again. So, by the way, in that Pocket Watcher with JT video, 19 Keys is asked, what is your contributive value to the collective project when they were putting together that Black World Order thing? And his thing was, basically, I just come with the ideas to help people get their culture and their knowledge together. They do the product, they do the whatever, they create this, they market that. I come with, I'm the thought guy. That's why he said he's the #1 thought person. I think, Steve, you have a good point. He's more of a hype man. And I don't know enough about him. JT didn't mention this, so I don't know if he is trying to be Elijah Muhammad or something like that, if he's in the nation, if he's in a variation of the nation. I don't know, maybe some of you know what it, but so he's supposed to be the thought leader, though. But what he's saying here is, again, devoid of important thoughts. Starting with, he's saying, basically they're going to start talking about going public, letting others invest, which is what big corporations do, obviously, when they're ready for it and big enough for it, and they have enough investment coming toward it for it. And which basically allows the owners to use other people's money to expand the company and live off of and do this and da-da-da-da-da. But if you are a Black business looking to serve a Black community, there is no investment. There is no going public and then Black people buy up all the stock and make you successful. So, and again, what he's saying without saying is his Black World Order is looking for that white investment, because that's ultimately what you need. Unless you're looking to create your own individual business, which is not looking to satisfy the needs of the collective, and then he's maybe offering something of value. But that's not how they're promoting themselves. They promote themselves as having the solution for the community, which is, of course, all they can present to the community to grift from the community and get white algorithm and ad support.
whole idea is, how can I give away a part of this company, right? So that it's worth a certain amount so that they can do more. Because by yourself, you can only do so much. So it's really just reframing the way we go about business. Most people build businesses to sell them. You understand me? And so when you're doing that, you're building a framework completely different rather than saying, how can I own this? Now, there's generational wealth where you build certain companies you want to have in the family forever, right? And we know the Chase Banks, we know the Colgates, we know, certain families who've had businesses for 100+ years that they've been able to pass down in their family, and we use those as household products today. Right. So there is, value in maintaining companies within, the family, but there's also value in giving away equity so that you can grow that company, so that it can become bigger and it become a household name.
And even the companies that remained like Walmart, right?
But what is he talking about? Is he saying that Colgate is owned by the Colgate family? I almost can't believe that's true. That can't be true. And then dude here's going to start talking about Walmart. Well, I'll let him go ahead and do that.
In a way, they still gave up some equity because it's a publicly traded company.
Right.
So they take the company to the stock market. That means everybody owns a part of it.
Right.
So that's what,
everybody.
like you said, it's like, when you're not used to having something, you just hoard it.
Right.
Because, and rightfully so, because it's like, for years, we always had stuff taken away from us.
Right.
You look at Black Wall Street, you look at Freeman's Bank, you look at so much stuff. Anytime that we had something, they took it away from us. Right. So psychologically, we still look at it like a hoarder. Yeah. Like, even with the information, it's like, but that's how we changed the game, where it's like,
that's yours.
Tiger Woods teaching somebody how to hit a golf ball doesn't affect him. It doesn't make him less of a golfer. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me sharing information with you doesn't actually hurt me at all. Yeah. That's what we didn't understand for a long time.
It be the mindset.
But by the way, for the first time I seen you brothers, I was like, their job is way more dangerous than mine. Because I'm just being honest. It's like you're telling people, like I'm helping people career. We're helping people career come back in order. You guys are telling people, look, you can make you money, I can keep you money, and you can build a whole company. Like, that's dangerous.
Right, but ask yourself, why is it dangerous, though? Who opposes that the most?
Because who do we have? Who examples do we have of y'all prior to y'all? Who was preaching black wealth?
As far as like
and being cool, like I mean, there's probably people that we just didn't even respect him. He was the preacher. He was the preacher that was smelling like Coltrane. You know what I'm saying? So we probably didn't respect him. Like I'm just saying,
but I mean,
y'all
just
are
in
cool.
the sense that we are great consumers, right? We're not great producers. You understand me? We are a culture that overconsumes everybody else's everything.
But that's everybody. That's more than 70% of the United States economy, which is still, although declining, the biggest economy in the world. So that's the whole point of an aspect of the colonial process has been designed to do, to reduce everyone to consumers. So this idea that this is a specific problem to black people ignores how the whole thing works and what is actually happening in the world. And then suggests some sort of solution that can't be a solution. Because even white folks in a white supremacist capitalist society haven't figured out how to collapse the gaps in class and wealth and consumption versus production. That's Marx's whole point. The owners of the means of production have the power. Although I know that's a white boy, I know he's European, I don't mean to do all of that. I know we don't do that around here, but come on, man, this is bad.
Right. Even when we go buy their brands, we're not particularly buying them because of the quality, we buying them because of the branding. Right? We want to have somebody else's name to give us value and aspiration. Right. We haven't learned to take that 1.8 trillion or however much money we have in spending power and turn it into an investment dollar.
Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Once we do that, now we have the power of an entire nation, right? One of the richest nations on the planet Earth. The problem is that number one, we don't have collective sense of unity, collective sense of ownership, collective sense of pride. We talk about culture, but culture is this word that's thrown around so often, but don't have that much meaning, right? It's decentralized, it's everywhere, and everybody can say they're a part of the culture because they make a hot song, not because they part of some values, some standards, some principles whatsoever. Right. So my whole thing is like now looking at each one of us, like we can all be brown and black men, but what's your ethnicity? Right? Like, what is your values, your principles, your religion, your ideology, your philosophy? What are those things you stand on? Because we get it confused because we look at each other and they all the same color, but we all have different beliefs. Right? So now we can't build with each other because I may be talking about equity and ownership and building and entrepreneurship, but your values may be completely different. But I got it confused because I'm looking at the construct of race rather than what's our ethnic background. So men like myself, black, Muslim, masculine men with knowledge of self, you understand me? Ethnically, we don't get inclusion. When they talk diversity and inclusion, they're not talking about people like me. Right. No, they talking about the effeminated version of those who believe the same things that they believe.
Right.
So that they can be black on the outside but white on the inside. Is
effeminated a word?
Right? In the movies, the TVs, entertainment, there's no representation of my archetype. Right? Meaning the people who think like me, look like me, move like me.
Now, I will submit myself to the criticism of the remixing community, but here again there's this slight overlap with what I happen to agree with. I do happen to think that there is a version of black manhood that is being erased from popular consumption. I do. So I'll leave it there, but not for the purposes he's saying. Leah, if you heard what I'm saying, it's like I'm just playing.
Right. So when you talk about it being dangerous, understand it's only dangerous because this is the primal solution, right? And everybody else gets the
primal solution. He's not talking that Liver King bullshit, is he? He's not talking that Liver King bullshit. Oh, man.
We make our people producers. We producing our own goods and services. That means we don't have to go outside our community. If we stay uneducated and we stay living in what I like to call financial deserts, where we don't have access to somebody who has a financial education that can give us advice on wealth and how to build business and how to maintain our assets, right? Then we're going to always be the victims of everybody else culture who does have that knowledge. Everybody else eats off us. The Asian man eat off us, the Jewish man, the Mexican man, everybody, because we don't produce our own anything. So that means we have to go outside our community. So when they see that 1.8 trillion and we say, no, let's circulate that amongst us, that's directly also us saying, let's take it off their table.
But how do we do that? Like, let's just
hold up. There it is.
Message.
What I got to do, man?
I gotta talk to the people, son.
Oh my goodness. All right, but he's about to tell us how we about to do this. So I didn't mean to cut it off. Oh my God, these dudes are too much.
Let's just get straight to it. Let's not wait. Like, how do we like? I like, for instance, like I love the fact, like, was it Slutty Vegan?
Yeah.
Wherever they like,
shout out to
go
her.
over and support it, whether you're a vegan or not. You know what I mean? Like, how do we make more of that?
So I think it goes back to having a level of pride, first and foremost. Like, I feel like it's so crazy because, like, how I was raised, how I was brought up, everything is black.
Right.
So it's like I still carry that with me to this day. So, like, my dentist is black, my doctor is black, my lawyer is black, my accountant is black. And I'm not doing that because...
What about your investors?
I'm like... It's just natural. Like, why would I not do it?
Right.
And I'm not compromising because they still qualify.
Right.
I'm still, like, vetting. But it's like, why would I celebrate having somebody other than what? That doesn't even make any sense. We the only people that do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's crazy because I was just outside the hotel today and this guy ran up on me. He's like, yo, I love y'all. He started talking to He's like, I was talking to this Jewish guy one time and he told me, you see this dollar? He's like, yeah. He's like, you'll never have this dollar. And he was like, he thought it was a racial thing, but then he broke it down to him. He said, look, when I spend this dollar, I'm spending it at a Jewish restaurant. And they're going to go to a Junic dry clean. They're going to put it in a Jewish
No,
bank.
he's not.
Like, you're never going to see this dollar. Because
No,
it's
he's
never
not.
Gonna leave our community.
That's a fact.
And they say the
All right, so, wow. No, he's not. That's how, oh my God. Nobody subsists off of that. That's not how wealth is created, and the circulating dollar thing don't work. Man. And how are you going to set up all these businesses to serve all these black people who don't have money, who don't have insurance, who don't have?
say the black dollar leaves the community, I think, within 6 minutes or something like that. Some crazy like.
They're still saying that 6 minutes. It doesn't. This is complete nonsense. These dudes are on the biggest platforms. They were just on the Today Show. They're cited by my students, and they are factless. Sugar Booger, stop playing. Promo Wale started a financial channel. the American. It's not called the American Wealth Network. It has to be the African Wealth Network. At least tell me he's doing that. Tell me he's not calling it American. Oh my God, that is ridiculous.
I think everyone knows what Kanye was saying wasn't too far fetched. I think it's how he delivered it. I think it was.
The first part is because we're gonna talk about like building business infrastructure.
Right.
But the first part is how you view yourself is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Like you know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't view yourself as worthy, then you're not gonna do business with each other. Because if you're looking at somebody like a nigga, you're gonna treat him like a nigga.
Right.
If I'm looking at you as my brother, I'm gonna treat you like my brother.
Right.
So it's like, all right, if I see you in a certain light, I'm gonna be enthusiastic about spending money with you. And it's not charity.
Right.
Like we gotta get out of that as well. Like if I'm supporting a business, it's because I genuinely want to support the business. Because I ain't have to tell you that you have to support Mercedes.
Right.
I ain't tell you had to. And it's like, yo, you know I brought that Gucci. Now you owe me. Like you know what I'm saying? So we only do that with each other. Like
that's funny as hell. I went to Pharrell's grand opening of BBC.
Okay.
And I just went and I bought out everything. And he kind of leaned over and was like, I got you. I was like, no. I gotta support this. That's what I'm here for. And what the fuck I need a hookup for?
Exactly.
Nigga, what the fuck? I'm in all motherfucking eat, nigga.
Yeah, you got that good
But I wanted to support, and it's like
that RevoltTV.
What else? Even vintage frames, like a guy Corey, like he went and opened up, and I went and bought out everything, and then it's like. So many people, and it reminds me of that's how many people people think that they're supposed to get shit for free if that's your brother. That shit got to stop.
Yeah, that's the mentality though. But it goes.
But
back
no,
to
it's not the American
where we
Wealth
supposed to learn
Network,
from.
is it?
That's why, like this moment right here, us being on Drink Champs.
Right.
This is important.
Well, thank you. Make some more.
I'm with them on that. I would love to be on Drink
Champs.
Champs. Don't get it twisted. I'm talking all this shit. That is one show I would actually want to be on. And I told, it didn't work clearly, but when the Freedom Scholars media team was asking me where I would want to get placed, I put Drink Champs on the list. I said, put me on Drink Champs. I would love to go on Drink Champs. So I feel that. It would be important. That would be a big deal. But RevoltTV and Diddy and them don't allow that. They can't.
Right. Sure, we grew up watching y'all. Right. So we watched Puff, we watched Jay, we watched Cash.
Well, let me not say that. I have not been invited. Let me leave room out there for someone else with a similar analysis to be invited and do some good work on that platform. I don't want to make it seem like Eddie.
Money. We watched all these examples. Yep. We saw it happening. We just didn't know how it's happening. And we only thought we can get it through a couple of lanes. Like if we ain't entertainers, it's going to be tough. All right, we got to be athletes. If we don't do those two things, it's going to be really tough, right? Until you start seeing like, wait, there's more to this. Like we uncovered like, yo, let's look at other people in other places of the world who are actually accumulating wealth, right? So when you never hear about Aliko Dangote, but he's the wealthiest black man on the planet.
Wow.
Right? Nobody talks about that because he's not Forbes is not putting him on the list. But
what's his name?
Aliko Dangote.
Okay.
And he didn't get it from entertainment. He didn't get it from.
But Mason Musa was like the richest of all time.
Of all time. I'm talking about right now.
Okay, right now
he's alive right now. He got it from natural resources. He got it from oil. He got it from construction. Right?
Who's this?
His best friend is building power plants. They can build their own city just from the resources that they have.
His best friend is Davido's pops.
It's Davido's pops, yeah. You know Davido?
The artist?
Yeah, his pops is a billionaire. Did you know that?
No, hell no.
But that's what I say. It goes with that cooperation. Like if they don't report to you, how you know what they're really doing? But you got tons of billionaires who are not reporting, they're doing real things. It's just that when we look in America, we're like, all right, Robert F. Smith, yes, wealthiest black man in America, but not in the world. There's no shame in that.
What about the guy that owned BET?
Bob Johnson?
Yeah.
Rob Johnson, he was a billionaire too.
He got a divorce.
Yeah, he lost $400 million on the divorce.
Shit.
Well, yeah. So no clap for that.
Shit, I wasn't ready. Y'all supposed to warn me on that one.
It goes to the mindset, right? Like
Jadorian, I'm not trying to mess with Omawale. In fact, not at all. Not at all. He's lost the privilege of having me even joke him like that. But I'm just trying to be clear. Is it correct that he's doing what is called an American Wealth Network? That's all I'm trying to be clear on. I'm not trying to mess with him, though. And who is this? Who are these billionaires that they're talking about? I don't know about these cats and what they're apparently secretly doing, because the data is clear. Wealth is again, coagulating among a tinier and tinier few as the poorer increasingly have less globally, nationally, whichever you want. So I don't know what all these success stories, what all these secret billionaires, he said tons of them.
When Jay said that line, he was like, when he bought the Nets, or he was an owner in the Nets, they were like, you don't own it. But then he had to remind people like, yo, 1% of $1 billion is more than people ever seen.
Right.
He said, we're gonna treat it like it's an everyday thing.
Right.
And then he sells 50% of Ace of Spades, and it's like, well, he sold out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, bro, he's actually merging the company so it can expand. He's now business partners with the wealthiest man in, quote unquote, the world.
Arnold
Arnault, who
yeah.
owns LVMH.
Yes.
And so it's a strategic partnership to help the brand grow. That's not hurting him, right? He's actually showing us how to do it right now. The problem is, like, for so long, we watched, we didn't get the instructions on how to do it. So that's why when we talk about the most dangerous, that's what this is right here. So the fact that we got it from entertainers, and now entertainment and music is now looking at us like, yo, those are the guys. This merger is important.
Right. My bad. But how important was it? Because, you know, like I said, you guys are cool. It's different from hearing from people that's always suited and booted, and you know, they looking too good, and they.
So just quickly, I looked at Aliko Dangote's Wikipedia page, and the first thing I noticed, one of the first things that jumps out is he received in 1977, he received a $500,000 loan from his uncle to begin trading in commodities. So already what are we talking about? We're already talking about someone already in the 1%. And in the context of the African continent, in the probably 100th of 1%. Who gets who starts with that? Who gets dropped $500,000 to say begin trading, just to begin trading, not even to pay off your debt or whatever else you need, to just start trading. And then what they talk, if it sounds like if they're about to start talking about the sectors of the economy Black people can find themselves, the reason Black people end up in sports and entertainment is because those are legitimately in service, healthcare, et cetera, are the few areas in the economy where there's a little bit of wiggle room. But in the dominant, there is no room to get in. And then it's always just one or a handful. It's like, so you want to replace this one with that one. Anyway, it's just...
They don't have no sins and shit like that. Like, you know, it's different when you're human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but how important was it for y'all to, like, connect with entertainers and share y'all, you know what I mean?
That's what it's ruining.
Jadori, we should talk about that, man. I don't... You know what? And if I had the other setup, I'd have dropped the link in the chat and invited you to jump on. We could do that, though. We could talk about that. I don't hate on cultural nationalists just because they're cultural nationalists. I admit where I disagree and look to engage where we do. If anything, and if you paid attention to this platform, the hatred is at minimum equal. I remember Brother Cambone had some not disrespectful entirely, but some pointed words for me. Anyway, my point is, I engage that all the time. I'm not hating on Promo Wale because he's a cultural nationalist. I'm hating on Promo Wale because he's disingenuous and a liar, and he talked rank nonsense about me in ways that I don't ever deserve and will never accept, and have never done to him. So I get my shots in and take my jokes and all, this fair game here and there, but he went way over the line. So this is specific to him. I don't have a particular issue with cultural nationalists or cultural nationalism. Come on, man. Don't do that. Anyway.
The first lesson I ever wrote on financial literacy was about JayZ.
Oh, wow.
Because we grew up with him. Like, I told you when I saw you the other night, I'm like, yo, you was on my door when I was growing up.
Oh, wow.
Like, my mom, I got the picture, I'm going to show you.
God damn it, make some noise for me.
So that's perfect, because as much as I've listened to JayZ and have used him, including in this second edition, JayZ, we're diametrically opposed here. My use of JayZ is to explain how he promotes Black capitalists' factless mythology, and old boy here is saying apparently I used him as a lesson, as a track a path to follow. Give it up.
I walked in, I said, yo, I love the Bo Jacksons,
Yeah, that's right.
orange
You
and
got a
blue.
one too. I need a pair.
Because that's what you meant to me, right?
That's
Like,
that's
and
fine.
I'm like, yo, this is my guy. And so, like, when I was thinking, like, me and him had this connection where it was like, we would hear lyrics, but we wasn't hearing them the same way everybody else was. We had the ability to decode the message.
Right.
And so I wrote, the first lesson I wrote was All Black Sky Sports and Entertainment. Like, he wrote that in 96, the first song on
JayZ line. Yeah.
Reasonable Doubts, the first song.
Right.
I'm like, yo, damn, in 2010, is he right? Like, if we look at the people who we think are successful, what avenues do they come from?
Right.
I'm like, yo, damn, was he profound enough to know that was what we was gonna see?
Right.
20 years later,
right.
And then for him to change that, and so hip hop has always been us. That's why I said this is really the evolution of hip.
But Sugar Booger, did he say it was the American Wealth Academy? I just want to get that point. I think I'm missing some of the chats. Did he really say American Wealth Academy, not African with a K?
Of hip hop, right? Like, we watch people entertain. We've seen y'all become like, look at this. This is business.
And really, it's going back to the root of hip hop.
Yeah,
You understand?
I didn't think hip hop was gonna get this smart. Like to tell you, I'm so sorry. Like, you know,
come on. That's
no,
crazy.
let's be
I
clear.
didn't think it was gonna get this dumb.
No. You talking about the music. You talking about the music. I ain't talking about the music.
culture as well.
I'm talking about maybe in its totality, but I'm saying there's a lot of great businessmen that are doing a lot of great shit on the business-wise now, because especially podcasts. Like, podcasts made it so we didn't.
But you didn't think Russell back then, what he was doing was insane?
Yeah. I'm saying I'm adding on to that. Yeah, I'm saying.
But even the Dame Dashes and things of that nature, there was always shining examples. It never became the predominant culture.
Right.
But they was always trying to make sure that they did not become the predominant culture, because now they can't eat off you. In this country, right, we've always, like, if you look at the history of black people in America, we are some of the most inventive, innovative people that ever exist in the history of time.
Right.
Like, it was a black man that created the doorknob, to the stoplight, to the filament in the light bulb. But you don't think about black men and women in that respect, right? Because it's not narrated like that. Why? Because we don't own media and we don't own the education systems, right? If we educated each other based on what our actual contributions are and the things that we do and the important people within our culture, that becomes our culture. Right. Our thing is that we are the talent, but we don't own the talent, right? We are the culture, we don't own the culture. So somebody else is always managing our spirit and our energy and our bodies. I mean, but that shit just goes back to slavery, right? We were the talent. We were the ones that was doing all the production. There was a brother that was creating the cotton gins and different inventions, but people were stealing the patents and utilizing your labor. It's the same thing with hip hop. It's the same thing with the workforce, right? Spiritually, the essence of hip hop is the most influential on the planet Earth, right? But financially, we don't own nor control none of that shit. Right. So if we can keep you uneducated, then we can control you. Right. That's what we was talking about with the con.
Ricky's comment is hilarious. This is making us want to be anti-CRT. This is what they teaching. Yeah, this is atrocious. And again, it's never. So the implicit message is that these inventors are brilliant but stupid and ignorant, and failed to have the financial acumen to learn how to take ownership, and has nothing to do with their relationship to the economy, to society, that would allow rich white men to exploit and take over and take advantage of. I mean, it's not that. And now the opportunity is there again, and we remain just too stupid.
Contracts and the legalese. Brothers don't know nothing about that, but when you go back to hip hop started off the gods in the earth. It started off peace God instead of what's up, nigga. You understand me? It started off with kings and queens instead of niggas and bitches. So it reverted, and then that's when you was able to really control them, because if it was based on knowledge, then people want to learn. If it's based on ignorance, then people are satisfied with not knowing, and they just get a look. So people want to look successful, but they never learn the actual business of success. So now we at this point, if you look at every other culture, their wealth standard is steeped in education. Whether it's the Jewish, they look at education as the key. The Asian community, which has the highest, grossing households in America, specifically the East Indian, education is the key. The way the Hispanics are growing right now, education. So for black people in America,
wait a second. This is another question I want to start asking. When all these comparisons are made, what are they basing that on? what is the body of knowledge? What is the source list that they are working from when they speak with such authority on Jewish and Asian and Latino and whatever community? Because all I hear is the same repeated myths and comparisons. What is there like a body of literature they're all reading, or are they just literally quoting each other's empty, sourceless stuff?
About that college education that people are getting, because that's never prepared us. Right? We've given that a go. We've given millions and millions of dollars to these colleges, and we just told people to go, but we never really told them how to attain the skill sets for financial wealth.
Should give
right? And what we're doing is saying that, all right, listen, you don't need to go 4 years to learn how to build wealth.
Okay.
You understand me? You can learn that just by listening, sitting down with a coach, or educating yourself on YouTube. Right. The game is changing with artificial intelligence and all sort of things. So we so behind, even when we catch up, we're still behind. You understand me? Because what we catching up to is the shit that people are already pivoting from. Right. So we have to not only be educated, but we have to be efficient with what we do. Right. With media and what we have right now, we have an opportunity to create a conglomerate to where
that one time I was in the room with Umar Johnson at this conference in North Carolina among black psychologists, his peers that he didn't talk to. He said, he literally, from his speech, where again, he's not talking to his colleagues and peers, he's talking to an uninitiated audience, young, and telling them academics just write books. They're just silly, but you should literally he said, go into the back and buy my book. It's the same thing here. They all do silly stuff, but my real stuff you can buy in the back or click the link in the show description.
You know, the only thing that we listen to is the things that we report, right? Outside the media is controlled by whatever forces, institutions, and powers. But when it's people of the culture, we listen to that. When we want somebody smart, we can find them in the culture. We want a scientist, an engineer, an intellect, whatever it is. We have all of that. And when I say the culture, I'm talking about that ethnic background of people who share those same common values, who want that liberation, who want that wealth, who want that power. The people who don't want it, that's not my people. They just look like me, but they don't think like me, feel like me, and move like me. And we have to be able to concentrate our effort and our energy on those who are alike.
There it is. There it is. And if you all remember at the end of the debate with the gentleman of crypto, we had to wait to the end for them to finally come out and admit, I'm not doing this for everybody. I'm not doing this for the community. I'm doing it only for those who want, like me, to win. So at least he's being honest. I don't know what they're going to talk about for the next 4 hours because we're at 31 minutes, and it goes for 4.5 hours. I got about another hour in me. I don't know how you all are doing. I can't handle all that, but that's crazy.
Packaging was very important because it's like the messenger is more important than the message. We're not the first people to ever talk about financial literacy, but we're the first people that really, at scale, did it in a way that was so relatable.
I remember me coming up and me seeing rich people. They used to have their sneakers fucked up. They were like, they didn't really care about showing money. Like, you know what I mean?
But you also got to understand, like, our background. Like, I always say, like.
And by the way, I've been looking. This came out 2 weeks ago. There are no clips. So I would have maybe try to find some clips for us to have fun with and maybe get more. But they didn't clip this, and I'm suspicious that they felt like maybe they didn't have an audience for it, or there was nothing in here clippable, or what. But usually Drink Champs drops clips, and there's been none in 2 weeks.
I had to learn business, but I didn't have to learn culture. Right. I am culture. Like, I grew up in it. Like, War Report, I could recite that album from
goddamn make some noise for that.
That shit. Like, even just coming here, like, I got a photographic memory, so it's like gumbo, but I remember buying throwback jerseys on 145th Street.
Right. That's right. Wow. Yes.
So it's like, nah, but that's really inside of us.
Real talk.
That's really inside of us. Like, so you don't gotta. But for a long time, we thought we had to compromise ourselves and be like, okay, in order to be taken serious, I got to change the way I talk. Yeah. I have to it's nothing wrong with putting a suit on, but if we don't want to wear a suit, we don't have to wear a suit. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can still have a very high level of intelligence, but not compromise who we are as people. Right. So the hip hop, that's just us. So now what happens is that people see us and they like, damn, that's really relatable.
Right.
Like I can actually achieve that.
Right.
So it's like now the sanitation worker is on his app trading stocks. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's
The
fine.
guy,
Ain't
that,
no
the guy that's
assimilation.
working a 9 to 5 is
fine.
giving inspiration because it's like for a long time you thought, okay, you got to go to Harvard. It's over your head. You got to be a super, IQ genius. But we breaking all of those barriers, and it's worldwide. So when we go to London and thousands of people come out because people have been disenfranchised for a long time all over the world. Jamaica, London, Nigeria, all of that. It's like a pyramid. Like people at the top keep power to themselves, keep information to themselves, and they keep the people on the bottom ignorant, and they keep them entertained. They keep them entertained with sports and entertainment and just, everyday nonsense. But now it's like, okay, you can still have sports and entertainment. We love that as well. But we're going to have some education as well.
Yeah.
And now you got to take it
missed something.
serious.
He said we went to London. I don't think y'all missed that
Talk to him,
part.
kid.
At the Royal Albert Hall, which is one of the most prestigious venues in the world, and we talked about financial education, and it was sold out with 3,000 plus people.
That makes some noise for that.
Yeah, because
we don't get no horn for
they try to make it seem
Get a
like
horn, get a horn.
Well,
There we go.
what we do is not normal, but we're normalizing it.
Yeah,
you understand
yeah,
me?
yeah.
But we still want people to understand that this is the highest level of excellence that we achieving as young black men.
Right.
So when we selling out different places and you have crowds of people, like it is a concert outside because we're changing the narrative around that, that has to be reported and respected and observed.
Hell
That's
So
the way you
people are
change
paying,
it.
like,
You understand me?
concerts to
But
watch
if it's
these
like,
dudes?
okay, they always doing something,
Right.
right?
Right.
Then therefore people don't see it as special.
Right.
They don't see it as obtainable. They don't
Right.
see it as, damn, this is a blueprint that we setting across the planet Earth.
real shit.
You know, we may be some of the flyest young gentlemen
right.
that has ever been born.
Right.
That don't mean that you can't step in those shoes too. You know, being from Oakland, I feel like, Oakland, I feel like even the dirtiest person in Oakland, even the most ignorant person in Oakland gonna have some level of knowledge of self. Because of the
And
culture
swag.
of Oakland is
And
history.
everybody pop their collar in
no,
Oakland.
everybody know how to move
Everybody
a
pop their
certain
collar
way.
in
You
Oakland.
understand me?
Yeah.
You know,
Everybody.
and they know how to talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Because Oakland is one of the meccas of game.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So you learn how to be able to
Clearly.
communicate and how to speak and how to see through the bullshit.
Clearly.
But also, the home of the Panthers and all of the different movements. Crack came from Oakland. You understand me? So growing up in
Crack
Oakland,
and
you
the
learn
Panthers.
about this.
Right.
So it's very hard to be ignorant of the way that the world is and works and what's your position as a black man.
Right.
So whatever you take with that style, the same way from Brooklyn or New York,
Right.
these are very specific and different type of places. You understand me? That
Right.
whatever is brewed from there is going to have culture and consciousness already in it.
Right.
Right? And especially when you throw in being a Muslim and being masculine, where you show up and present yourself is going to be with power. I'm not trying to acquiesce to the way the standards have been before me. I want to create something new. So those who look at me and be like, yo, if 19 Keys can do it, then I can do it. Right? Like, I've been through the streets. I done had the cases. I done did all of the things that will give you an excuse to be like, well, he had this, that, and the third. No.
Right.
I've been through the same trappings, but it was the knowledge that got me out of it, the perspective, the experience.
Right.
So therefore, we're setting an example to say that all black men on the planet Earth can stand up and be themselves without having to bow down to the power structure.
Yeah, it's that same.
So it's funny, Jadorian, I see your comments about academics should contribute to the radical struggle, and I'm not aware at any point at which black academics have not contributed to the black radical struggle. And part of what bothers me, the more I've learned about the YouTube community, is that a lot of what gets presented on YouTube as sort of organic, anti or extra institutional wisdom has been produced and buttressed and supplemented and provided with data and analysis by academics for a long time. So again, we can't just have these blind, shots at the academic community when in fact it would be better if folks like this did more to engage that community, particularly the radical elements, but even some of the more what might be considered mainstream elements provide a lot of work that would be of great value to people like this. It would help them get past some of this surface level, sort of elementary, sophomoric, repetitive repetitions about individuals or points in history. So, I mean, And Huey Newton did get a PhD, David Silberg. That's Dr. Huey P. Newton. There's value to organize, sustain, study with seasoned experts, even if you don't agree with them politically. There's value in that. So I'm not saying it's necessary, but it would be a lot more helpful if it would provide something of value to this discussion if they invited some of those black radical academics on. And by the way, at imixwhatilike.org, even going back to my old radio show, we have literally thousands of hours of discussion and interviews and presentations by that black radical, from that black radical academic community. So we're there. I don't know where everybody else is, but just as there is as much a percentage of academics in the radical struggle as there are any other members of any other profession or field, at least. All right.
Earlier you was talking about sports.
I have no data to support that, by the way. But I do believe that.
Entertainment. This is something that's very hot on Black Twitter.
Black Twitter.
Black Twitter.
Black Twitter, biggest media platform in the world.
DeionSanders.
Yeah.
People are critiquing him,
Of
and I
course
don't
that's your
understand
guy.
that. Like he has a job to do, doesn't he? And what is your
We
take
interviewed
on that?
DeionSanders
Okay.
at Jackson State, actually.
Horrible.
You been down there? You been down to Jackson?
No.
I'll say this about Deion. I understand and I respect the move because at the end of the day, it's just business.
Right.
But I understand why people.
You know who got this right? Again, Bomani Jones, my favorite member of the black commercial media. And his point was exactly, he put it even better than I'm going to put it, but it was the point I was trying to make as well, that Deion didn't just promote himself as someone trying to have a good career as a college coach. He was promoting himself as someone who was going to save HBCUs in particular, who was going to help the black community, who was going to help build HBCUs and raise their standard. And the first big check he came his way, he was out to the whitest of the white, Colorado.
People are disappointed because how it was packaged, and not even, he might not have done this,
Yeah,
but
don't
how
forget
it was
about
packaged
him,
was
Eric.
that it's more than business. When you take a job at Colorado, you know that's just a job.
Yeah.
You take a job at Jackson State, and it's sold as, this is for the culture.
It's HBCU.
HBCU.
Yeah.
And this is for the culture. And now athletes can come and play, and we're going to support our own. And now you start to build up steam, and then Rick Ross is coming down there, and Gillian Wallow coming down there. We coming down there. Everybody's coming down there, and it's lit. And now you got the top players in the country considering going to HBCUs, and people donating money.
No,
and
they
Diddy
weren't.
talking about he going to write a check
No,
for $1
they
million,
weren't.
and it's more than just a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So people looked at it like, okay, DeionSanders is the most
Yeah,
popular
because he
coach in
promoted
sports
it that way, too.
right now.
More than just a job.
He's the most popular coach in sports.
But he ain't supposed to.
No,
business?
I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him, but I'm just
explain
trying to
it.
show you how the other side is looking at it.
Okay, how
So
they
it's
looking
like,
at it?
damn, for years we've been defunded. We never had credibility. We've been embarrassed, all of this. So now we finally getting national recognition. We finally got pride. We finally can stand up.
Because let's just throw it out there. Colorado is a white school.
It's super
Yes.
white.
Yeah, super white.
Super white. So it's like, damn,
12.
as soon
Super white.
as soon as we get to the top, now all of that's taken from us. So I'm not knocking him because he's just one person. But I'm just trying to I can understand with some of that disappointment because it's more than just a job. Like at an HBCU at that level, it's for the culture.
What happens if he brings his starting players over to
But
Colorado?
that's part of it now, right? So the first,
He's not
that's what he
doing
did at Jackson State, right? Like the first thing he did was brought his family. Like he lives there, you know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. So like his son is there, his daughter works on campus, his other son plays
not
for the
his
team.
players.
So he brought them to Colorado too. The thing with Deion is like he's a trailblazer.
Nori asked
But
about
the
his
trailblazer
players.
set a pace for people to now follow. So like, yeah, he did his job. He was there 1 year, they was 500. The next year, they was 10-2. This year, they undefeated. They're gonna play in a bowl game. He's done what he was supposed to do as a coach. He said, I'm not a leader of a school, I'm a leader of men, right? And young women who are trying to get their education. He could do that anywhere. The fact that he chose Colorado, like I get it, like for everything he's saying, I get that standpoint. But does that stop him from now leading young men and women? Nah. Who's next now? Who fills those shoes? It's like us, right? Like we kick down doors right now. Right, we get into spaces. It's like what you said about sports entertainment and then it being that elite. But there has to be a ladder in between. Right, like we became that ladder. Like now, who follows him? Who's the Hall of Fame athlete or football player that says, you know what, Deion paved the way. Let me go take the reins from what he did. And
Warren Sapp?
Listen to what he's Warren Sapp. Is Warren Sapp even allowed near anything related to football? And by the way, but listen to what he's saying. He paved the way for another Hall of Fame black athlete to do what he did. So now we're not reducing. You just said we need to move beyond sports and entertainment, and you just now wedded the path to not only sports, but the most elite of the elite in sports to be the trailblazers to black liberation and equality. This is
Warren
hilarious.
Sapp could be one of them, right? Or there's a bunch of Hall of Fame.
How could Warren? Do they even let him near TV anymore? After he got caught bringing, I think was it? I can't remember what it was. I think it was. I don't know. It was something untoward that he was blamed for, and now Warren Sapp is the answer.
You can go down the list of names, right? But it's like, who's going to do it?
Just think of the niggas I got their phone number.
Call them up.
This is important for black
Yeah,
Twitter
call Warren
and
Sapp and
everybody
start
that's
this
criticizing
revolution.
to understand, right?
Yeah.
We love criticizing.
Yeah.
We love throwing rocks. We love talking about something. 99% of the people that criticize have never done anything productive. So it's like, instead of criticizing, he's actually done something for HBCU.
Right.
You could have said he could have did more, but he did a lot. What have you done?
Right.
So it's like us. We just did a.
So what's the metric? What have I done enough? I'm just wondering, what is the baseline? Who could say they've done enough to say, yo, what Deion did is some bullshit? If all of us in the chat who agree that what he did was bullshit, have we collectively done enough to meet this man's standards?
The free event at Howard University on Saturday, right? That's our way of giving back. If you in at Howard or if you just in DC, come learn education, learn about real estate, learn about credit.
Chocolate City.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like,
It's not Chocolate City anymore, and so what are you going to teach this gentrified city about real estate? I wonder what the hell he said.
instead of looking at this as an opportunity to criticize somebody, why don't you look at this as an opportunity to actually do something? Right. Give some money to a HBCU. Go to an event, buy some merchandise, like do something, tutor somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I have given 20, going on, going on my 18th year, I think, at Morgan State, and I have given 18 years of wild underpay to an HBCU while working at one. Have I done enough to say that what your mans did is some bullshit? 18 years of insufficient, embarrassingly low pay.
but that's humanity's problem. I don't want to say black people, but that's humanity's problem, but especially black people. Now stop doing that. Yeah. Stop doing that, because it happens all the time. It happens when they don't like, if Nori do an interview with Ye, they're going to criticize it. They don't like DeionSanders, they're going to criticize it. And it's like, you spend your whole day criticizing somebody, and you have not done anything to contribute anything productive in anybody's lives. Yeah. So that's something that's very detrimental, and we got to call it out and encourage people to actually help.
And it's being
so call out a critic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Call out the critic.
I would say as well, just to...
That's it. Call out the critic who has been critical and is undeserving of that. Yeah, you said it right, David Silberg. 18 motherfucking years.
To be God's advocate on that one is that, you can't market a revolution in a movement and then sell out for capitalism. I think that's what people are tired of.
That's what they think.
But that's what Deion just did.
Because a person's individual success don't matter to the culture. Individual success is you and your family. Right. When it was about the people in the movement and we felt like this was for HBCUs, that's why everybody cared. Right. So when he made that decision, he took the movement with him. You understand me? He sold out the movement as well for his decision for himself. Right. So I think that's very important that when we do things, you understand me, let's not trap our people into this feeling like, yo, I'm doing this for Black America. I'm doing this to get us. Like, you have to also, so when people are disappointed because you raise their expectations. You understand me?
Let me tell you one thing.
You can't do that.
So let me tell you one thing. I'm sorry to get a little deep, right?
No.
Like, it's like when we and EFN, we wanted to own our shit. So the reason why, one of the biggest reasons why we went to Revolt was gonna, let us own our shit.
Shout out to Revolt.
Shout out to Revolt.
That's a family.
Yeah, shout out to
Shout out
Revolt.
to
They let us
Deion.
own our shit.
Top
So,
dog.
but I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
If Revolt sells tomorrow and they didn't tell me, I kind of wouldn't be mad. You know what I'm saying? Even though I had a lot to do with probably their sales, I probably wouldn't be mad. I feel like we should have something, that warns us, like, yo, Revolt has it as it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same. And as long as it's that, because I realize.
So, but let's also be clear, just to be clear, like, because remember, we even covered it a couple months ago when P. Diddy was on behalf of RevoltTV doing the whole buying power thing, saying commercial advertisers don't respect the black press, which is that reoccurring trope to get that white ad money to black outlets. My point is, I think what I'm trying to say is, Nori is talking about we wanted to stay with Revolt so that we could own our own thing, but he's talking about them as a parent company and one that might sell itself at some point, and them, as anyone else would. So what is the value of it being on Revolt? And especially if the ad revenue that Diddy wants to pay them is coming from white corporations. And he's aggressively inviting it from white corporations. What is the meaning of black ownership? Anyway, I think you all get what I'm saying.
Most of this shit is not really friendship. Most of this shit is business, even when it's friendship. And you got to learn how to take the punches with it. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like it's been rumors all the time. Like, Revolt's selling over here. And I'm like, I don't even make the phone call and be like, yo, I'm a little heated. Like, I don't even do that. I just be like, all right, cool, if that's the fact. Because that's what we kind of signed up for business. So isn't that the same when it comes to Deion? I know.
What I think the difference between Deion is just the movement around Deion. HBCUs, he's bringing these top athletes over here. Right. You understand me? And people's like, finally, that's dope. And the way that he pushed it out there, very inspirational movement. You thought he was going to be there for probably a couple more years. Him going to Colorado or white school, even if he's bringing talent to there, he's bringing money to there. Right. You understand me? If it's an HBCU school, then we see that as a black thing. We see that as when we talk about wealth and circulating the black dollar and educating ourselves to make that a better top tier school. Right. So this is the idea of the mind of the people. Everybody's not even educated to know the nuance of the business structure and the deals. So they're going to react emotionally, of course, because the way you got people involved was.
By the way, what is the? Forgive me if I cut him off and messed up your paying attention to it, but he's not saying anything. The HBCU thing, again, is a misnomer. This idea, as I think he was saying and suggesting, that involving oneself with an HBCU is participating in the circulating black dollar. It's not. What HBCUs exists on black dollars? None. Whether it's federal, whether it's state, whether it's private philanthropic support from white entities, usually from which they were founded, where is the black dollar supporting an HBCU? So this is, again, part of the mythology of all of this. There is
getting them emotionally involved, right? Getting them inspired, letting them see this and feel this, like, yo, we finally doing it over here. So I think that the way people responded to Deion was the only way that they knew how to respond to Deion. Right. You understand me? You went to a white school and got a great deal. And for his career, that's great. Right. But for the idea of what he was doing to HBCUs, that has no value to it.
I wouldn't say that. I just
real quick, because
I like this.
And Steve, you're right. The state don't give them as much money as they give their white schools because, again, that's the same thing as everything. They don't give anything as much to black as they give to white. And they don't even give to all white in the same way. Again, I went to Frostburg State, a PWI, but a small one is part of the Maryland system. And I still think that 6,000 strong black community there, 500 to 600 black community there within a 6,000 or so student population was as strong as any community exists at Morgan. I bet I'm right about that too. But the point I'm really getting at is that, of course, HBCUs are going to be underfunded. That's the same thing with black businesses. They don't get the same venture capital investment from white America that white corporations get, and that only a handful of white corporations get. So yeah,
I don't like short-term moves. I like long-term shit. Like I feel like
I respect
when you
this.
make
like
money,
this.
your God, they can always use money against you.
Yeah.
And a lot of niggas always turn for money, and we can make any and every excuse. But if we did the same thing, we'd be sellouts. Now I don't think there's nothing wrong
what?
with.
Give us
I
an
have to
example.
agree with him.
I mean,
He's trying.
if I come out here and present myself as a
calling
thought
Dion
leader,
out.
not care for the people, you understand me? And then some white company hires me, Gucci, be like, yo, well, we want you to be our representative, and I make that
Balenciaga
decision.
hire you.
Right? Crazy. That's never gonna happen. But listen, like, imagine that though, right?
I ain't gonna lie. You had to see your own face.
They give me 19 million and be like, yo, we want you to be the face.
19
Right.
exactly.
I'm selling out, right? So to me, it's no difference when you making that same decision. Now, what he did was great, and what he represented. I think the way we got to communicate is not bringing these expectations like I'm a revolutionary when really I'm a capitalist.
Well,
Hold on, real quick, because you said.
Wait a minute, though. Is he saying that he is a revolutionary and not a capitalist? Or is he admitting he's not a revolutionary and a capitalist? Hold up. I just want to hear that.
In the deals. So they're going to react emotionally, of course, because the way you got people involved was getting them emotionally involved. Right? Getting them inspired, letting them see this and feel this, like, yo, we finally doing it over here. So I think that the way people responded to Deion was the only way that they knew how to respond to Deion. You understand me? You went to a white school and got a great deal. And for his career, that's great. But for the idea of what he was doing to HBCUs, that has no value towards it.
I wouldn't say that.
I just want real quick, because
I like this. I like this.
I don't like short-term moves. I like long-term shit. Like I feel like
I respect
when you
this. I
make
like
money,
this.
your God, they can always use money against you. And a lot of niggas always turn for money, and we can make any and every excuse. But if we did the same thing, we'd be sellouts. Now I don't think there's nothing wrong
what?
with.
Give us an example.
I
If you
mean,
did
it's,
what?
if I come out here and present myself as a thought leader, not care for the people, you understand me? And then some white company hires me, Gucci, be like, yo, well, we want you to be our representative, and I make that
Balenciaga
decision.
hire you.
Right? Crazy. That's never gonna happen. But listen, like, imagine that though, right?
I ain't gonna lie. You had to see your own face.
They give me 19 million and be like, yo, we want you to be the face.
19 exactly.
I'm selling out, right? So to me, it's no difference when you making that same decision. Now, what he did was great, and what he represented. I think the way we got to communicate is not bringing these expectations like I'm a revolutionary when really I'm a capitalist.
Well,
Hold on, real quick, because you said the word movement, and so when I hear it,
I don't know enough about what his work is, but he claims to be a thought leader for the culture. Either way, he's telling on himself as far as I'm concerned. This is not revolutionary. And you're a capitalist.
movements
Or
require
wish you
just
were.
more than one person, right? And so when you think about the Deion situation, is it a movement or is it a moment? Because it was a moment for Jackson State. Did
I
it
think
help
you're right
Grambling? We
somewhere.
don't know. Did it help Morgan State? Did it help out? We don't know, because we never got to see the long-term effects of it. And so it was a moment, right? But it becomes a movement.
And, you know, specifically, it did not help faculty at Morgan State.
When somebody now carries that on, right? So that's how it's built. So that's what I'm looking at it like, all right, there's so many of us and there's so many alumni who come from these schools that never give back. Like what he said, like there's plenty of prestigious alumni. Are they coming to support the schools?
Really?
Are they becoming boosters for their schools? Or are they rooting for the school that they like on TV? You see what I'm saying? And so like, in order for it to be a movement, it has to be more than one. So if Deion's just the one, you take the head of the leader of the movement out, and now there's no movement.
But when you the one, you started, you bring other people in so that it makes sure that it progresses. But now, whether he was somebody that kick in the door and this was always his idea to go to one of these schools, then it was always a career move and it was never a movement. Now, whether that relies on his shoulder or not is a different conversation. But when we talking about creating a successful template, it has to be long term. Anything a person does in the short term, yeah, a person can be inspired and do it, but that doesn't really make you the founder of the movement unless you are there to usher it in for the next generation.
So let me people that's the founder of the movement of hip hop. There's so many people that's the founders of the movement of hip hop who kept up the same thing, who didn't go commercial, who didn't make these commercial records, and they are not financially. What is an example that you have for them?
Let me rebuke what bro just said, because I'm gonna use
which bro.
19.
The God, okay. The God. Okay, you are rebuke God.
By the way, I love this. I love
it. Wow. I'm gonna use some of his knowledge that he dropped on us a while back. He said, black people have a savior complex, where we always look for one person.
Right, like Jesus coming back.
Yes, the black Jesus coming back to save us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's Malcolm X, whether it's Marcus Garvey, whether it's whoever, right? And
this is bullshit. Black people do not have some savior complex. Black people, like many other groups, are susceptible to the massive amounts of propaganda and messaging that encourages them to believe that someone like Deion, who goes on your show and promotes himself as a community leading revolutionary, they're of course inclined to believe it. This is not, now you want to turn it around. It's the same thing they were doing with the crypto. Invest in crypto, and then when it fails, oh, y'all did too much. You didn't do it the way I told you to do it. Listen to Deion, follow Deion. He's the leader, he's the hero. Oh, but y'all got problems with savior complexes. You're doing too much. These dudes are, this is some wild nonsense. And I know there's some of their fans that watch this and are like, I feel like he contradicted himself.
And it's like, that's why I always tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm not a leader, I'm a friend. Because leaders never have to tell somebody that they're a leader. If you choose to follow somebody, then that's up to you to choose. But I'm not, it's too much pressure and too much responsibility of being a leader. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a leader. I'm just here doing my responsibility, just like you're doing your responsibility. Everybody should be doing their responsibility. So it's like a race is run, it's a marathon, and you have a baton. Wow. So sometimes every relationship ends. Every relationship ends. Sometimes a relationship could be 6 months. Sometimes a relationship could be 60 years. But at one point, it's going to end. Right. It's not about how long it lasts. It's about how impactful it was while it lasted. DeionSanders' 3 years was more impactful than 50 years of what most people have ever done for HBCU.
And by the way, I don't watch college football at all. That was the first time I started watching college football.
Exactly.
But I didn't know it was just Deion.
So what I'm saying is that he said, again, can you be a revolutionary or a
what is he basing
that
on?
Both.
What did Deion do in 3 that nobody has done in 50? What?
We never apologize for making money. Right. Because we in a capitalistic society. This is what they put us in. I ain't choose to be in America. This is what I was born in. So I'm gonna make the most of the opportunity that's provided for me. They demonize wealth and say, oh, you got to be poor. And somebody said on the other day, they said Jesus said that you have a rich man has the odds of a needle in a haystack of making it to heaven, something like that. I said, what's the odds of a poor person? That's what they never told you. You know what I'm saying?
No. I'm sorry. Son. In this Christmas season, son, what are you talking about? Oh, man. Okay. All right. We don't even need to break that down. I mean, come on, son. You George Bush the quote. Can't fool people if you fool me once, fool me again, you fool me, can't get fooled again. You George Bush the quote of the Lord and Savior and then twisted the entire point of the passage. Even this heathen non-believer can appreciate the point. Son, he's saying that's the point. Poor people have the opportunity to go. Rich people don't. And he completely flipped it. And none of these Bible thumping believers are gonna challenge him on that. Come on,
like,
Nori
what's the
about
odds
to
of a
get
poor
him.
person?
Nori
Probably the
about to
same.
get him.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They make it cool to be poor and broke and be, but like you said, nobody's coming to help you. Right. When you a poor revolutionary and when you a poor founder and now you need to get your teeth fixed, all they gonna say is, nah, bro, your time is past.
Oh, you bet.
So
You're
it's
looking
like,
bad out here.
You can't.
Contrast that with what Kwame Ture used to say all the time, and seems to have been backed up by actual experience. That when you're a revolutionary, the people will take care of you. And he said he got great care from people as he moved around, even at the last stages of his life. So this is just the movement. This is like anti-movement. This is more anti-movement rhetoric. The movement ain't going to help you. Capitalism is going to save you.
Can't look at it from that standpoint because I look at it like DeionSanders came. He added a lot of value. He added a lot of attention. He sparked the movement. Now, whose turn is it next? He never signed up for a lifelong contract to be Eddie Robinson and be the coach for 70 years. He did his 3 years. He said it from day one. It's all about the money. That's his first song.
That's his first song.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that. He said the exact opposite. I watched all that Deion shit, and I watched this whole interview with them. He wasn't saying I'm doing this for the money. Stop it.
The people should have then thrown a bunch of money into that situation to keep him there.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's still.
They don't have
3 years is not
Colorado
a
money.
long time.
It depends how you look at it.
3 years is a short
Ask
time.
that to a nigga in
When
jail.
we talking about a rich man living out his dreams,
tell
this is
that to
different than
tell that to somebody
in
who's
jail.
living in Jackson, Mississippi.
You understand me?
Yeah, you're right.
So, but you got to look at it like this, because all the men that I've ever respected throughout history, you understand, they stood on what they stood on for a lifelong mission once they started it. You understand me now? I don't know what the rest of his life is going to be.
Right.
The question that you first arose was about the way that people felt about it.
Yes.
Right? And I believe that the way people felt about it was the way that he positioned it. He created the atmosphere that if I leave abruptly to a white school, then Black America is going to feel this way because I got Black America hopes up by the change that I was making.
Right.
So I don't think that it's controversial for people to react in a manner when you position their emotions into hope. You understand?
So you're saying this is not
how
like
they
the
supposed
LeBron
to
Like he set up an expectation.
The LeBron
so
decision had nothing to do
disrespectful.
personally with black.
Well, who's Deion always said he was? He is who he said he
That's
is,
what
right?
I said.
You know
He
what I mean?
said
Like,
92.
he said time.
He said
His
92
single
is
is
about
what?
the money. It's all about
It's
the
all
money.
about, yo, must be the money.
I went to Craig's dinner.
But
I
he
went
was,
to Craig's dinner.
he was young
He
when
told
he
us
said that. He wasn't
Yo,
an
listen,
HBCU.
it's how much of a player he
But
is.
he
But he
coach
never,
when he said that too.
even went to.
I think this is deep. When did they break up? Because or are they still together after the Black World Order break up? Because they're disagreeing right here, and I'm loving it.
For HBCU.
Yo,
He
listen,
went to
he
Florida
has
State.
to.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So
we're
Listen,
2022 and
I
we
went
talking
to
about
Craig's
black
and
wealth,
he
and
was
that's
in
what's
there
powerful
with his
for us.
new wife and Babyface with his new girl, and he was with Babyface's old wife.
Tracy
and they were
Evans.
all together, and I was like, "This is gangster." I was like, "This is." I walked in. I was
Another
like,
night at
"You know,
Carbone.
usually like, yeah, this is Craig's and Ellen. This is Craig's and Ellen. We give Craig's their props." But yeah, because the way you broke it down and the way you guys said it, I didn't look at it like that. I kind of looked at it like the LeBron decision as opposed to looking at it as a historical black colleges.
What LeBron decision?
You know, when LeBron, everyone was just as mad.
the decision?
Yeah, the decision, the regular decision.
The Miami decision.
Yeah. But hold on, let's give them their flowers.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Let's give them their flowers. Yeah. You know, our show is about giving y'all flowers.
That
people their flowers.
was a breakdown.
Yes.
If you gonna rebuke the guy, you gotta do it like that.
Yes.
Wow.
Come on, we're gonna get your actual flowers. Come on, that deserve it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Y'all deserve it, my brother.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
we like
dope,
that.
bro. That's dope.
So,
Appreciate that.
moving
Thank
on,
you.
right?
Thank you.
Shout out to Deion, by the way.
Oh, shout out to Deion, yeah.
I also believe that it's always dangerous when we criticize black men who do any good. He haven't done any wrong. He hasn't done anything evil.
Right.
It's just perspectives, opinions, and emotions around the moves he's making because they're public. But him as a black man, the work that he's done, the inspiration that he showed, he deserves his flowers for that.
Yes.
You understand me?
Yes, I respect that. So one thing I all noticed, as soon as you walk in, all of y'all got on the rollie, right? All of y'all got on the rollies. Now, some people will say, depending on who you ask, they'll say, watches is an investment that's going down. It's an investment that goes up, and it's a roller coaster. What do you guys say to people who's never probably had a watch?
Yeah.
And this is a fad right now. Yeah. Just having a little watch, and just looking good, feeling good. Some of these watches is going up.
See, how's that Richie Millie treating?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty cool with it. But some of these watches is going up, and then some of them is staying still.
Yeah.
The watch market is doing great right now.
Okay.
If you look right now, of course, they haven't announced it, of course, but we're in a recession, right?
Wow.
Some things, we're going through some of the highest points of inflation in the nation right now.
They just hiked it up again?
Right. Plane tickets, food prices, healthcare, a multitude of different things are very high. Wow. And a lot of the different assets that people was holding on to have lost value, right? This is a point in time where a lot of people have over-leveraged, bought too many assets, and they end up selling. But Rolexes specifically has been a nice special case. They even through all of this up and down with inflation and recession news and stocks being down and crypto
Watches
being
are the
down,
new crypto,
the
Steve.
Rolexes
Right.
have held their value and increased in value. Right. And so right now,
Is it Rolex?
I saw that
Rolex store?
in there, Leo.
So Rolex stores don't have any Rolexes in there.
That's important.
They only have display Rolexes that's not working. Those are not. No Rolex stores actually have Rolex in them.
Well, you know
right
what's
now.
so crazy is that there's a whole education with these watches.
Yes.
That I didn't even know until nobody knows until you're actually in the space.
Right.
So it's like, with the watches, what I realize is that all Rolexes aren't made the same.
Right.
And all Rolexes don't have the same appreciation.
Right.
So like the Sky Dweller, right? That's the most complicated movement. So it's crazy.
I think we about to wrap this
So it's
up.
like that's one of the watches that appreciate.
And make way for
the
the
Sky
7
Dweller
o'clock.
appreciates more than this. This is a presidential.
Right.
Black
I have a Sky Dweller.
Liberation
Sky Dweller will appreciate over time more than the
Film
presidential.
Festival
Okay.
joint.
So it's interesting how
Which
you
Which
Stuff
president?
is just beyond absurd at this
Well,
point.
Okay.
I'm just
End of this talk. I think I got gumbo on. He ready? No. We bringing you in. We bringing you in.
That's the new way to give out flowers.
I like that.
That's not the Rolex.
Rolex.
So,
Yeah,
but
okay.
with the Rolexes, it's like, what's so crazy, bro? Because Troy will break it down, but this is a good analogy of life.
Okay.
And it's like, when you really start to understand watches, you see your watch worth like probably 300,000, something like that, right?
Yes, that's
With
facts.
no diamonds,
Yeah, no diamonds,
gold,
titanium.
nothing.
Yes.
And it's like,
Thank you for throwing that out there.
yeah, I had you got like the Sky Dweller, and it's like the watch value. You would think it would be done by diamonds and gold.
Right. Yep.
The
Factory.
most important thing of a watch is the movement.
Right.
So it's like that's a metaphor for life as well, right? Like your movement has to always be on point. That's the most the exterior.
It's a metaphor
is
for
what people look
capital.
at.
Read your marks,
The
son.
interior is the most important thing.
Right.
So understanding watches is like this is real timepieces.
Right.
It's art. Like you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like we're not just
art.
Yeah,
art.
it's not just going in and just saying I just want the most craziest whatever. It's like understanding and being educated
That's
on
the
it.
new
This is the
movement,
education
David.
that I never received. We never received this education, right?
Okay.
And even
That's
like
what
you
they
said,
mean
even
by
purchasing,
movement.
it's like you got to go on a waiting list.
Yes.
And then you got to purchase a watch to get another watch.
Yes.
Build up your credibility with the
Nah,
store.
no, it's gang. It's gang culture.
It's a
Yeah.
That shit is gang culture.
And then it's like even jewelry.
You got to put it in the body to get work to get another body.
Sacrifice somebody
Then
first.
it's like even jewelers, like no disrespect to any jewelers here, but I don't trust jewelers.
Right.
So it's like I only buy it from either the Rolex store or authorized
Authorized.
dealer.
Yeah, dealer. Yes.
Authorized dealer is extremely important because it's like even Quavo.
Right. Oh, we
All
have
right,
him
good
Yeah, he
people.
brought a watch
I
that
think,
it wasn't
I
real.
think-
Yeah.
But it's like he.
I
No,
think
no,
I'm gonna have to
it was-
just.
it was
I'm gonna have
made-
to
put
just
together,
wrap
yeah.
this-
together.
this
It was
up.
real. It was like
It was something
I'm
like
gonna
that
have to just
face with
wrap
Yeah, but
my
when they-
man.
when they
this up. My bad. There we go. Cause that joy, and an hour and a half. We barely made an hour and a half in, but that joint was brutal. But listen, I won't lie, I had fun. And I did want to test out some of the new Kwanzaa gadgets. Who said that yesterday? That was funny. And thank you, Sugar Booger. Happy New Year to you. Seriously, everybody, it's been another great year. We're about to hit our second anniversary in February here at BPM. And it's been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate all of you supporting what we're trying to do, because you see what we're up against here. I mean, that is just madness. That is absolute madness. Yeah, I did the best I could, David. Did the best I could, because this shit is just, it's just. And then I see we got stuff coming up on the platform, and I really do appreciate what folks have been offering and trying to get us to share. And if folks, if we got YouTube time, let's tonight, let's give it to whatever is coming up here. And I'm looking, did I misread that? Did something get rescheduled? I thought we had something coming up here tonight at 7 o'clock. Anyway, I'm gonna go chill. Second edition submitted. I'm about to fully relax and enjoy this evening. This next couple of weeks, we'll be back with the new year, Monday the 2nd, with, I believe it'll be the inauguration of our new show, Gorilla University. But whatever it is, it's gonna be some good and fun stuff, I'm sure. Yeah, good people. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you rocking with me, and let's see if I can close this out from here. I don't know if I can. Can I do it from here? Yeah, I can. Anyway, like Fred Hampton used to say to you, we say peace if you're willing to fight for it, and I know all of you are. So thank you all very much for supporting this show, for this platform, all that good stuff. Happy everything. Be safe. Enjoy yourselves. Catch you in the new year. Peace, everybody, if you're willing to fight for it, as I know that you are. Thanks again.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.